Hello everyone, today I am sowing some native plant seeds so that I have lots of plants to put out into the landscape next spring and summer. Most of these seeds came from friends' yards. So I have been all over the place the last couple months, and I have collected some seeds throughout my travels. And so each time I did, I would take the seed heads, I would put them on a paper plate, usually a white paper plate, and put that in my laundry room and just let them sit to dry out. So I let my seeds sit out and dry out because that will increase the germination rate when I sow the seeds. And that's because the more mature the seeds are, the better the germination rate is, because immature seeds typically won't germinate at all or as well as ones that are fully mature. The first batch of seeds that I am going to sow today are mountain mint seeds. So you can see them in there. You can see the seeds. The seeds are the small ones on the sides of the container, if you can see those. And so the reason why they're in this Tupperware is just because I put the seed heads in there, closed it up, and gave it a really, really good shake. By doing that and giving it a good shake, then it gets the seeds out of the little seed heads. It's just an easier way to extract those seeds from the seed heads, and that gives me plenty of seeds. So with seeds, with mountain mint seeds, they are very, very small. So I am going to sow these seeds just on the surface of the soil right here. I have found that the smallest seeds are the ones that really require a little bit of light to germinate. So I will just sow these seeds on top of the soil here and just cover it with a light layer of coarse vermiculite. The sun will be able to get through the coarse vermiculite. So this particular potting mix right here is my own creation. This is actually a little different than what I normally use. So what this is some of my homemade potting mix, which is coconut coir, 1 part coconut coir, 1 part leaf grow compost, and a little less than 1 part perlite. I just happen to have some extra potting soil in my garage, so I threw that in there too, and then I had a little bit extra homegrown leaf mold from some projects I did last week, and so I threw that in there as well. So that's what we're using as far as the potting mix goes. What I'll say about the potting mix for native plant seeds is just make sure that you have something in there to feed the plants once they emerge in spring and after they lose their cotyledons. Those are the 2 little leaves that sprout with the plant. Those are not true leaves, but that's what nourishes the plant as it grows. So native plants typically stay in their pots a little bit longer when you're growing them like this, so you definitely want to make sure that there's some sort of nutrition in your soil as opposed to just a plain old seed starting mix which has no nutrition in it. So now I'm just going to get some of these seeds here. I mean, they just go onto your your fingertip, and I'm just going to sow them. I'm going to sow this really thick. Now, just so you know, I sow my native plant seeds in deep cell flats. That's because native plants typically stay in there longer than say your vegetables and things like that. So you want to have something deep enough to support root growth for longer than what you would for, maybe an annual vegetable or something like that. However, I am using these 5x5 bootstrap farmer seed trays today, and that's because I didn't purchase these seeds. These are seeds that I got from friends, from their yards. I don't know how well they're going to germinate. I don't have any experience with them yet, so I'm going into this. I don't want to waste a lot of soil on something that may not germinate, so I'm just using a smaller container, and then I will pot these up way earlier than I would native plant seeds that I am buying from, say, like Toad Shade Wildflower Farm or Prairie Moon Nursery or something like that. So with mountain mints, if you do not have Mountain mint in your landscape, oh my gosh, it is like one of the top plants that I would recommend that you put in your landscape, because these guys bring all the pollinators. And when I say they bring all the pollinators, they bring a lot of the like different types of pollinators, just a whole array. Pollinators that you rarely see, little teeny guys, big guys, the thread waisted wasps, which I love seeing. Anyway, definitely get some mountain mints in your landscape. There are mountain mints for full sun, part sun, shade. I'll put the name up of the shade one on the screen. I'm not 100% which variety this is. I'll find out next year if I get any plants. So now that the seeds are here in my little my container, I'm just going to sprinkle some of this coarse vermiculite over top. This will prevent the seeds from bouncing out of the container in the rain. I'm tamping it down just a bit to make sure that the seeds have contact with the soil. I can't remember if I told you this or not, but I don't know the specific variety of this mountain mint. I'll have to wait till next spring and summer to see. So I'm just gonna give it a little mountain mint label and a question mark. So next up, I am going to sow some Bidens that I received from my friend Nicola. And let me go ahead and get this little pot started for the Bidens. I'm gonna fill the pot almost full, and then I'm gonna leave a little space in the pot because I'm going to just thinly spread some soil over the seeds. So these seeds are much bigger than mountain mint seeds. So I am going to put them on top of the soil, and then I'm going to add another layer of soil over top before putting the coarse vermiculite, because I don't think that these guys need the light to germinate. Again, I am going to sow these pretty thickly because I don't have any experience with their germination, and I'm planning to pot them up after they begin germinating in the spring and the early summer. Okay, so now for the layer of soil over top. Okay, so the Bidens are done. I went and got another pen because my garden pen is running out. I don't know what's going on. I thought it was brand new. Anyway, and I got a Sharpie. And the only reason I got a Sharpie is because I can't find my paint pens for some reason. Sharpies, so when you see me writing on these popsicle sticks with Sharpie, just know that Sharpie will wear off over the course of the winter season. So use Sharpie on your plant labels at your own risk. Next up are some Rudbeckia. I am going to do the same thing with the Rudbeckia that I did with the mountain mint, where I'm going to shake it in this Tupperware. So again, this is Rudbeckia. Not sure of the variety, or not sure if it's Fulgida or Hirta. I think it's probably Rudbeckia Hirta, if I had to guess. Okay, tons of seeds in there. Similar to the Bidens, the Rudbeckia can be covered as well. Rudbeckia are fantastic plants for the birds, especially the songbirds. The songbirds love to eat their seed heads in the fall. So definitely a plant that you want to keep standing through the winter. And Rudbeckia is the host plant for the silvery checker spot butterfly. Next up, I have some blue flag iris. I want to show you these seeds. So blue flag iris, they have very large seeds, so these will definitely be covered up. And the seeds that I have, they seem a little bit on the soft side, so I'm not 100% they're going to germinate well. I have other blue flag iris seeds that I've collected from my own plants that I will be sowing a little bit later. But I really love sowing seeds that I get from friends. And it's just a nice feeling when I'm walking around the gardens in in the summer and I see the plants blooming, and when I know that they've been seeds from a friend or a plant from a friend, it just makes it really special. These have been sitting with some aster seeds for a while, so we may get some asters mixed in. That probably is definitely not the same growing environment, but oh well. Blue flag iris likes a very moist environment. Like I have some blue flag iris that pretty much just grows in my, is submerged growing in my whiskey barrel pots. Blue flag iris is a hummingbird favorite. The blooms do not last very long, but they are so beautiful when they are around for that short period of time, makes them worth it. Also, their foliage is really great to fill up the garden. Those spikes, definitely a good contrast for other plants with leaves that have rounded leaves or feathery, wispy type leaves. You know, intermingle all the different textures will make your garden interesting. I abbreviated the name on this popsicle stick to BFI, Blue Flag Iris. So I do that a lot. Over the years, I have come up with different abbreviations that I'm used to, and I definitely recommend you doing that because it makes things really easy. Like I do PCF for purple coneflower, GBL for grape blue lobelia, CF for cardinal flower. Just makes things easy, and then I end up reusing these different markers over the course of time. Okay, next up I am going to do foxglove. So Penstemon digitalis. Penstemon digitalis or foxglove is a biennial, which means that it will grow the first year with its foliage, so it'll have like a rosette, and then the following year it'll send up a flower spike. Now, a lot of times what I try to do with biennials is I will grow them in the very late summer and let them get that rosette and kind of trick them into thinking that they've had a full growing season, because then they'll go dormant over the winter and then they will bloom the next spring or summer because it's their second season. Well, I'm doing these pretty late. So these may not flower in next spring or summer. It might be the following spring or summer. So I'm going into this knowing that. Here are the Penstemon seeds. You can see them in there. This isn't Henry's garnet. I got a cutting from somebody. You can see that the seeds are really small, but I am going to cover them a little bit because I don't know Penstemon digitalis to need light to germinate. The last two group of seeds that I'm going to sow are asters and goldenrods. I don't know the type for either one, which is a theme for this entire video. That I am trying to collect as many different types of asters and goldenrods that are well behaved. Well, goldenrods well behaved. But anyway, for my yard, because goldenrods and asters are keystone plants. Keystone plants are those that are critical to your local wildlife, and asters and goldenrods are some of the very last blooming plants. So that's the last bit of food that the pollinators are going to get before hibernation. First, I'll do what I believe are the asters, and really, this is so overseeded, it's ridiculous, but that's okay because I will pot them up, I will separate them, whatever. Okay, so next up are what I believe to be the goldenrods. Goldenrods, most times I think they need light to germinate, so I'm just gonna put coarse vermiculite over top of them. I'm hoping I didn't get the aster and the goldenrod flip-flopped. If I did, oh well. For all of these, I did use a 5x5 container from Bootstrap Farmer. These are made in the USA, super, super hard plastic. I'm not an affiliate of theirs. I just really like being able to use plastic that I know that I am not gonna have to replace or add to the landfill in any time in the near future. So anyway, that's why I like to use Bootstrap Farmer pots. Now that I have these seeds done, I am going to start working on the seeds that I will put into my deep cell trays. So I will keep you updated on those. And if this content appeals to you, I would really appreciate it if you would follow by clicking on the subscribe button and hitting the bell button so that you know when I upload a new video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you again next time.